Good evening, students. Hi, students. Welcome to VerandaRace. I know you must not have received yesterday's file which I promised, but you'll get it today because of some technical reasons it couldn't be attached. So today you'll get the file anyhow. Don't worry about that. So let us start today's session. We have very special features in today's session. You'll enjoy the feature a lot because I have added some error spotting questions, good error spotting questions with today's session. Thank you. Yes, Danny Vijay Balan, good evening. So let us start the session. Okay, so today's is thorough discussion of the editorial of March 8, plus we have some error spotting questions, multiple errors session we have with us. So Danny, did you receive the yesterday's file? Just asking, just need to confirm because I just checked there was no file attached. Danny, please confirm because it will be attached today. Tenses rules file. Danny, can you please answer? Good evening, Rahan. So Danny, I'm asking you a question. Did you get any file attached with this yesterday's class? Because today you'll be getting the file finally. It was some technical issue that we could not attach the file yesterday. Okay, let's start the session. So this is multiple error. So what the question is here, 5 sentences have been given: A, B, C, D and E. Okay, so you have to find the parts which are correct. The parts which are correct, B only, B and C, A and B, A only, A, B and D. So you have to find the parts which are correct and remove the parts which are incorrect. So you have to, like for example, B only means B is only is correct, rest of others are wrong. B and C means B and C are correct, rest others are wrong. So you have to find. So let us read the question. In 1849, so we will first do 4 common error questions, multiple error questions. Then we'll move to the passage, which is very interesting passage today. Madurai, yeah, okay. So in 1849, a poor Bavarian immigrant named Levi Strauss. 1849, a poor Bavarian immigrant named Levi Strauss. No error in this. So A is not the answer. So these 3 options will be eliminated. Okay, we have to find the correct. So A, B and C, these 2 options are incorrect. Either A is 100% correct. So we have to find the correct options. Okay, so this is correct. Landed in San Francisco, California. So B is also correct. So A and B is 100% an answer. So this can be an answer, this can be an answer. At the invitation of his brother-in-law David Stern. So it should be on the invitation of. Landed in California on the invitation of. So C cannot be an answer. Otherwise C is already eliminated. Owner of dry goods business. So D is correct. So A, B and D will be the answer. This dry goods business would later became known as. So it should be later be known as. So the answer would be A, B and D. A, B and D are the correct options. So it means we have to find those options which are correct with sentences which are correct. The option which contains the correct sentences is the answer. Okay. So this will be, E will be the answer. A, B and D are correct answers, correct sentences. Fine. So let us revise it. In 1849, a poor Bavarian immigrant named Levi Strauss, correct. So A is correct. Landed in San Francisco, California, correct. On the invitation of his brother-in-law. So C is incorrect. Owner of dry fruit goods business. This dry goods business would later be known as. So E is also C and E are incorrect. So A, B and D will be the correct answer. Correct? Fine, got it? Moving on to the next question. You have to find the correct sentence. In response to the allegations and condemnation pouring in. In response to the allegations and condemnation pouring in. So A is correct. So this will be correct. We have to choose between these 2. Nike implemented comprehensive changes in there is incorrect because it should be its labor policy. So B is eliminated. Otherwise also B is eliminated. So we have to find between E and D. Perhaps sensitizing the rising tide of global labor concerns from the public would become a prominent media issue. Nike sought to be an industry leader is incorrect. So it should be an industry leader. So answer would be A and D. A and D are correct sentences. A and D are correct sentences. Are you getting me, students? Are you getting me? So A and D are correct. We'll revise it again. So in response to the allegations and condemnations pouring in, Nike implemented comprehensive changes in its labor policy, perhaps sensitizing the rising tide of global labor concerns from the public would become a prominent media issue. Nike sought to be an industry leader. So A and D will be correct. Fine. Moving here to the next question, we have to find the correct sentences. Those who are joining late, let me tell you to find the correct sentences. So charges and counter charges mean nothing. This is correct. So A, this and this are correct options. So this is incorrect. These two options can be eliminated. Charges and counter charges mean nothing to the few million who have lost their home. To the few million, okay, all the people who have lost their home. So it can be correct as well. So, but we see to a few million would be the correct answer. So B is incorrect. Anyhow, B is not in the option itself. The nightmare is far from over, for the government is still unable to reach hundreds who are marooned. The death count has just begun. So A, C and D are correct. A, C and D are correct. So this will be the answer. Wonderful question. Wonderful question. A and C and D will be the answer. So fine, you have understood. I'll revise it for you. Charges and counter charges mean nothing, which is correct. To a few million who have lost their home. A few means some people who have lost their home. The nightmare is far from over for the government. C is correct. Is still unable to reach hundreds who are marooned. The death count has just begun. So the answer will be A, C and D. A, C and D will be the correct answer. Clear? The last question of this segment will be, I did not know what to make of you. To make of someone means to understand someone. To understand someone's intentions. To understand someone's intentions. So A is correct. So option D is eliminated. D is eliminated because A is correct. Because you had lived in India, I associate you more with my parents than with me. You would means you had lived in India. So because you had lived in India, I associate you more with my parents than with me. So B is also correct. A, B. A and B, only one option is there. But let us check if B can be incorrect as well, because we cannot identify whether you would means you would or you had. Because you had lived in India or you would lived in India. Would lived is incorrect, so it means you had lived in India. So let us check again. And yet you were unlike my cousins in Calcutta, who seemed so innocent and obedient when I visited them. This is correct. So A and C and E are correct, I guess. A, C are correct. And let us check E. Although you did make effort to meet me. Wonderful. This option is correct. A, C and E are correct. A, C. So it means that it should be in present tense because you have lived in India. B should be the few, no Sarkar Sankar. It should be a few. A few would mean some. A few would mean some. So let us read this question again. I did not know what to make of you because you have lived in India would be the correct answer. So B is eliminated. C is, and yet you were unlike my cousins in Calcutta who seemed so innocent and obedient when I visited them. No error. You were not curious about me in the least. This is out of question. So E is correct, although you did make effort to meet me. So A, C and E are correct. Fine. So we have finally done 4 questions. Wonderful questions. Now let us move to the editorial. No need to go back because this passage is very nice. We'll understand the passage slowly and steadily so that we understand each and every line. And I'll also ask some questions in the meantime from you related to vocabulary or spelling. So the Sunday evening arrest of Chitra Ramakrishna, the former MD and CEO of India's largest stock exchange by the Central Bureau of Investigation, CBI, should change the course of what has been a laid-back probe into alleged misuse of exchange data by market players and jarring, even surreal governance lapses. Very easy passage today. The wonderful English has been written in this passage. So you need to understand how to write because this will somehow help you in writing. When we analyze the passage, we also understand how to make structures, understand syntactic errors and find how to write correct English. So what it says is, the Sunday evening arrest of Chitra Ramakrishna, the former MD and CEO of India's largest stock exchange. I think we have discussed this kind of passage earlier. We talked about Chitra Ramakrishna, who had some connections with one of the Mr. Subramaniam, if you remember the passage, of SEBI, and she is from NSE, National Stock Exchange. So, by the Central Bureau of Investigation should change the course of what has been a laid-back probe. Laid-back probe means a lackadaisical kind of thing. Lackadaisical means lazy. Laid-back means lazy probe. Probe means what? Probe means investigation. Probe means investigation. So, a laid-back probe into alleged misuse. Alleged means charged. So if you say she is alleged into a crime, means she is charged with crime, into alleged misuse of exchange data by market players. And jarring means what? Intolerable and very bad, in the sense that it's something jarring to your ears will be very bad to your ears. Even surreal would mean unrealistic. So she has been charged with misuse of exchange data by market players and very bad to ears, even unrealistic government lapses. So there have been some government lapses, because of governance lapses, because of which her involvement in the exchange of data by market players is very bad and sometimes unrealistic sounding. Fine. So a Delhi court has granted CBI sleuths. Shocking, strange, correct. Shocking is the perfect word. So sleuths means what? Sleuths means detectives. So a Delhi court has granted CBI sleuths 7 days to interrogate the former National Stock Exchange NSE boss about a month after the stock market watchdog. Watchdog means what? Watchdog means somebody who is monitoring a particular issue. He is the watchdog. So a Delhi court has granted CBI sleuths 7 days to interrogate the former NSE boss about a month after the stock market watchdog SEBI passed a 190-page order that has made headlines for its assertions. Assertions means what? Assertions mean facts about Miss Ramakrishna sharing confidential internal information with an unknown person. Separately, the CBI has got extended custody of Anand Subramaniam, the NSE's former group operating officer, hired ostensibly at the behest. Ostensibly means apparently. So what has happened is, SEBI has passed a 190-page order that has made headlines for its facts about Miss Ramakrishna sharing confidential information with unknown person. Separately, the CBI has got extended custody of Mr. Anand Subramanian, NSE's former group operating officer, who was hired apparently at the order of. Behest means what? Order. Ostensibly means apparently. Correct, Sarkar Shankar. So apparently, ostensibly, at the order of the unknown yogi, disregarding the kind of internal controls. Disregarding means notwithstanding, not considering the kind of internal controls and governance norms one expects from an institution of such systemic importance in the financial markets. So NSE, SEBI is as an institution of systemic importance. Systemic means working according to a system. And not on a particular issue. So something which is systemic is which works according to a structural system and not based on one particular kind of modus operandi. Okay, so it will be so now we have understood that when on Sunday evening Chitra Ramakrishna was arrested, then she was the former MD and CEO of India's largest stock exchange, National Stock Exchange, by CBI. It should change the way the laid-back probe into alleged misuse of exchange of data by market players has been because of governance lapses. Now the Delhi court has granted CBI's detectives 7 days to interrogate the former NSE boss, Mr. Subramaniam, Ms. Chitra Ramakrishna, about a month after the stock market's watchdog, that is the person monitoring SEBI, has passed 190-page order that had made headlines for its facts about Ms. Ramakrishna sharing confidential internal information with somebody unknown, which we had done in the earlier classes. Mr. Subramaniam is the unknown person. Separately, the CBI has got extended custody of Anand Subramaniam, the NSE's former group operating officer, hired ostensibly, apparently at the order of the unknown yogi, disregarding the kind of internal controls and governance norms one expects from an institution. So without considering the kind of internal controls and governance norms one expects from an institution of such systemic importance in the financial markets. Okay, so we have understood this now, till now. Now, proper arrangements, correct? Moving ahead to the next part of the passage, the catchy details must not detract from the larger questions. The catchy details must not detract. Detract means deviate from the larger questions arising from the deployment of co-location services. So what do you mean by co-location? Similar location. Deployment of co-location services means which are related to each other. All those locations which are related to each other. So deployment of co-location services and the lacuna. Lacuna means what? Lacuna means gap. Lacuna means gap. So the catchy details must not deviate from the larger questions arising from the deployment of co-location services and the gap in India's oversight mechanisms over its capital markets, reflected in the multi-layered failure to crack down on the wrongdoings at the NSE. So there were some wrongdoings that were happening at the NSE, and India's oversight. Oversight means, see, we say oversight, see, in India's oversight mechanisms over its capital markets reflected. So when you are not able to see something by your normal vision, which is known as a myopic kind of vision. So India's oversight mechanisms over its capital markets reflected in the multi-layered failure. So when you are not able to see something, you have a myopic view, that's known as oversight mechanism. Layered in the multi-layered failure to crack down on the wrongdoings at NSE. India was not able to visualize the lacuna, the gaps in the multi-layered, and it was a multi-layered failure to crack down on the wrongdoings at NSE. So something wrong was going on at the NSE. The exchange of data was being taken place by Chitta Ramakrishnan. Well, the co-location services offered by the NSE, which give market operators willing to pay a premium, a head start on exchange trading data and refine their own algorithms for high frequency trades. So what happens in the co-locations, it is that the market operators are ready to pay a premium head start on exchange of trading data and refine their own algorithms. Own algorithm means their own flow of information, own flow of actions, activities for high frequency trades. So this happens when the data is known to the market players. So when the market players, lacuna means gap, correct, Rajeshwari, Sarkar Sankar. So what happens is, the NSE offers co-location services, which gives the market operators, the market players, willing to pay a premium, a head start. Premium means they are ready to pay high amounts and are permitted by SEBI, but were ostensibly misused by certain players. So this permission was given by SEBI, but they were apparently misused by certain players of the market. The NSE's case entails means attaches. Entail means attaching something to something else. The NSE's case entails an unfair advantage provided to some brokers within its co-location user community. So what happens is, NSE's this particular entire issue in which the data was exchanged and data was exhibited to some of the market players, this case entails means this adds to, or this has a particular unfair advantage to some brokers within its co-location user community. Its here means the NSE. Those players who are brokers are very close to the NSE, they were given unfair advantage. Whatever the defenders of such services may say, the defenders of co-location services, which defenders are saying about this, the premise means the proposition, the proposal, entail attaching, correct? The premise of giving players with deeper pockets, quicker and more information than the average retail investor does not gel with an open market philosophy. So in the open market philosophy, what happens? The retail investor should also get the equal opportunity and information for trading. But what is happening is, the premise of giving players with deeper pockets means, deeper pockets here means with more investment and more control over the market. So quicker and more information being given to deeper pocket investors is not correct in a market which openly claims that it's an open market. So open market philosophy does not go with this particular kind of treatment, where the retail investor is not getting a chance to gel with an open market philosophy. So only those players who have deeper pockets and who are a part of the NSE as a revered customers, revered traders, they are only being given quicker and more information. Because you see, in the stock market, the faster you get the information, the faster you are able to make money. But the other retail investors are not getting time. Gel means cooperate, correct answer, Sarkar Sankar. So this is like the players who are not getting the right information at the right time, they are not able to make money. But those revered and respected players of the NSE who are very close to them with deeper pockets, they get quicker and more information than the average retail customer, investor. Okay, moving ahead, those institutional mechanisms from the NSE's board and auditors to SEBI an independent regulator accountable. Accountable means responsible, kind of responsible. So when you say somebody is accountable, he is a very high post person. A bigger organization or a bigger post is accountable, a normal person is responsible. So accountable to parliament. So SEBI is an independent regulator who is accountable to parliament, which is accountable to parliament, and which has not delivered is a larger worry. So those institutional mechanisms from the NSE's board and auditors to SEBI, an independent regulator accountable parliament, have not delivered. What has not delivered? The institutional mechanisms. Mechanisms mean what? The processes which are responsible to be executed for the retail customers as well as retail investors as well as deeper pocket investors is a larger worry. It's a larger worry that these mechanisms have not delivered. Nearly 3 years have passed between SEBI's 624 crore fine on the NSE for misuse of its co-location services and the latest order against its former top brass. Top brass means top official, like the CEO or the MD or the chairman. These are top brass known as. So what has happened? 3 years have passed between SEBI. SEBI had punished, or it had put a fine of 624 crore rupees on the NSE for misuse of its co-location services and the latest order against its former top brass. A matter where the sanctity means holiness or piousness, where the sanctity of the entire market comes under a cloud. Here sanctity would mean the uprightness, the honesty. So a matter where the sanctity of the entire market comes under a cloud should have been treated with a tad more urgency. Tad means a very small amount, a little amount, which should have been treated with a tad more urgency. The CBI Special Court has observed that SEBI, Stock Exchange Board of India, which began this probe, means interrogation or investigation, in 2016 has been too kind and gentle. So CBI has observed that SEBI, which had begun its investigation in 2016, has been too kind and gentle, while the CBI, after filing an FIR in 2018, has been most lackadaisical. Most lackadaisical means lazy, has been most lackadaisical. So the CBI Special Court has observed that SEBI, which had started the probe in 2016, had been too kind and gentle, while the CBI, after filing an FIR in 2018, has been the most lackadaisical. With a new SEBI chief in place, the government led by Finance Minister, who is reviewing the handling of the NSE case. So what has happened? A new SEBI chief is in place, led by the. Can somebody name the new SEBI chief? Can somebody name the new SEBI chief, please? Okay. With a new SEBI chief in place, the government led by Finance Minister, who is reviewing the handling of the NSE case, must ensure some deterrent. Deterrent is something which stops an action from happening. Stops an action from happening. So deterrent means harmful kind of thing. So with a new SEBI chief in place, can somebody name the SEBI chief, please? Okay. Led by the Finance Minister, who is reviewing the handling of the NSE case, must ensure some deterrent action and is accompanied by a review of checks and balances. So what is the checks and balances? Any organization has a system of checks and balances where nobody is allowed to do something irrational, illogical or immoral. So every organization must have a system of checks and balances so that even the top bosses cannot do something immoral. Madhubhai Puri Bhuj. Okay, great, Satish Kumar. Very good. So coming to the review of checks and balances in current governance structures. So what is happening is, now the SEBI chief in place, the government is led by Finance Minister, who is reviewing the handling of the NSE case. Okay, must ensure some deterrent action. So SEBI must ensure some deterrent action, means it should stop the activities which are going immoral. It should stop those immoral activities and is accompanied by a review of checks and balances. Checks and balances means a system where every person in an organization should be under monitoring, under surveillance in current government structure. So this should happen in current government structure. Everything should be in perfect review of checks and balances. Okay, Madhvi Puri Bhuj. Okay, great. So now that we have understood the passage entirely, yesterday's Madhu Bhai Puri. Okay, fine. So now we have understood the passage, so we will end the session very soon. But let me tell you that today you'll get the file which I promised yesterday. Because of technical issues it couldn't be attached. You'll get the file today. With this, I'd like to thank you everyone for being with me throughout the session. Thanks a lot. And tomorrow we'll come with some more exciting features. Today we had 4 error spotting questions. Wonderful questions were there. So I hope you enjoy the session. Thank you so much, students. Thanks a lot.